What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. Thanks for joining us here on the Bettor Sports Betting Show. I'm Howard Bender, and as you can see, I'm here with Jon Impemba, and John and I are going to be doing the NFL best bets, prop bets, touchdown calls, everything like that. While Dan Servadidio is away on vacation this week. And also, just so you guys know, thank you so much for watching us here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page or the Bettor Sports Betting YouTube page. Please do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Just so you guys also know, John and I, this is a pre-recorded version of the show. Usually we're live at 4 p.m. Eastern, but holiday schedules and whatnot, you know the way it goes. So sometimes you just gotta make some adjustments here. We got to zig when everybody else is zagging. John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. It is week 17 of the NFL season, so we're winding down towards the end of the NFL year, and you and I talked about it on the NFL DFS show. As we get down towards the bottom of the season, we start seeing teams bench starters, new guys go in, different guys get rotation, snap counts change. We start getting maybe some open tryouts for next season on the teams that aren't going to be in playoff contention. So got to be aware of the news at all times when it comes to setting your lineups, making your bets, and all the good stuff that comes with the NFL end of season here.
Yes, agreed. There's so much that goes on here at the tail end of the season that, you're like, oh, wait a minute. I gotta figure some stuff out. So in all honesty, and I'll just let you guys know, I don't like this slate. I think the last time I said this, it was probably like back in like week 7 or week 8, where I was like, I don't like this slate. I'm not betting this slate heavy. I'm going to stand by that here again. I am not betting this slate heavy. There's a lot of mismatches, a lot of bigger point spreads. But like John said, there's a lot of different things that could happen. Some teams are vying for better playoff seeding, things like that. So, overall, I would say that, you kind of you bet what you guys want to bet. Me personally, like, I'm not going to give you like a billion picks throughout the week here. I'm not going to go bonkers over it. And I will bet what I say, but it's 1 unit max per bet. And in some of these, I'll probably only go like a half unit. I just don't love this slate at all. But let's get to it anyway, because listen, we just saw Thursday night action. Cleveland covered that 7.5 point spread. That game went over the 34 mark. I was in on that. I hit all 3 of my props. My Amari Cooper prop, because he was inactive, that was nullified. But I hit all 3 of my props. I hit the over. I missed the Jets covering that one. They were just completely inept. But now we've got a big Saturday game here, Dallas-Detroit. That's a 53.5 over under. That everybody's expecting big points there. No Monday Night Football. There's 13 games on Sunday. So, without further ado, John, I will pitch it to you here. You tell me what's the first game you want to bet.
First game I'm going with here. I'm going to go 49ers covering this spread. They're on the road against the Commanders. I know it's a big number. 13.5 is a big number here, but the Washington Commanders have decided to bench Sam Howell, we think, because right before we went live here today, Jacoby Brissett popped up on the injury report as now questionable with an illness. We know a lot of players have been dealing with illnesses here in recent weeks. So, do they go back to Sam Howell? Jacoby Brissett is too sick. Do they just bench Sam Howell altogether and go with whatever the next quarterback on their roster happens to be? Either way, I think the 49ers bounce back after that tough matchup that they had against the Baltimore Ravens. They go into Washington. They just clean house in that game here. I think they cover this one pretty easily. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the 49ers minus 13.5 this week.
Minus 13.5. You also have a pick on the over-under in this one.
I do. I'm going to go under. I don't think the Commanders get much going here. So while they have a big spread to cover, I don't think Washington gets more than 10 points in this game here. So, I could go see this one be, a 35-10 game, and that still comes under the 50. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the 49ers minus 13.5, and the total of this game going under 50 for this one.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I could definitely see that, right? 49ers just blow them out, hold them to death, and like there's no question as to why Jacoby Brissett's suffering from an illness right now. He's got like the rumbly bumblies going on, because I genuinely fear for his safety. Against this 49ers defense, after what happened to them against the Ravens, you know that they're going to be like, oh, yeah, it's on right now. In similar fashion here, I'm going to go to the Eagles game. Eagles, Arizona, another big point spread, but I'm also taking the favorite here. I'm going to take the Eagles at minus 11.5. The Eagles, they want to win the division. They want, just kind of, keep pace with possibly getting home field advantage throughout the playoffs. They need a big statement game here also, because their defense has been struggling a lot lately. Now they might be getting Avonte Maddox back. Darius Slay might be coming back as well. So their defense is likely to get a boost. But, you look at the Arizona Cardinals, they've been underdogs all season long. And you know what? They never cover big spreads this year. I think they've had double-digit spreads against them 3 times this season, and they haven't even come close in any of those games. So, I think that the Eagles need to make this happen. So give me them minus 11.5 against the Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray or no Kyler Murray, I think the Eagles hold them in check.
Listen, the last time we saw Clayton Tune start a game, we had no touchdowns scored. So, we had the no touchdown bet in that game against Cleveland. So if Clayton Tune's out there again, maybe we'll go back to the no touchdown for the Arizona Cardinals when it comes to their Eagles matchup. My next play here, I'm going to go with the Rams minus 5.5. Yes, I'm taking some road favorites here, and that's always a little scary, of course. But I ultimately think that the Rams offense is just going to be too much with the way they're clicking right now for the Giants to keep pace. I think they cover the touchdown here. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be a blowout, but I could easily see them winning by 7 points in this game. So give me the Rams against the Giants minus 5.5.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's the New Yorker in me that just shied away from it immediately. Maybe it's because I have Matthew Stafford in a championship game in a very important fantasy league to me. Like, maybe that's why, it's like my wife's a Giants fan. So, I always kind of hedge and I hold back. But I mean, I love, Kyron Williams, and I love Stafford. I love everything that is about this offense. So, the question is will Tyrod Taylor keep it close enough? So I stayed away from that, but I like your bet. I don't, listen, I'm rooting for your bet to hit more than anything else. I'm going to take a road dog, and this one might surprise a lot of people here, unless, of course, you watch the DFS show with me. And I'm taking Miami plus the 3.5 points in Baltimore. Listen, I think Baltimore made a huge statement with their win over the San Francisco 49ers this past week. Huge statement there that everybody's like suddenly realizing, wow, the Baltimore Ravens, they are the class of the AFC. And so now all of a sudden it's like, yeah, that was a Super Bowl preview. And what are the 49ers going to do? What are they going to do? Well, guess what? You got Mike McDaniel, who runs that same offense there, who just watched what Baltimore did. And he's smart enough and savvy enough to really shake things up, I think. And just, again, I don't necessarily know if Miami wins this game, but I definitely think that this becomes like a super close game, could be decided on a last-second field goal. And if that's the case, I want to be on the side that is getting the points here. Sure. So it's a little bit contrarian of a play. I don't even know what the I should look to see where the public money is on this one right there. Give me.
I have to assume most of the public's on Baltimore after the way they just slapped the 49ers here.
You would think that would be the case, but then suddenly, all of a sudden, like, weird stuff happens here. But here you go. It's like 50-50, 51% on the Ravens, 49% on the Dolphins right now.
Okay. I think that's an interesting one. That was one that if I had to pick one, I'd probably lean Baltimore, given how well they just looked. Dolphins have struggled a little bit on the road, but like you mentioned, if this is close at all, you want the hook, right? It's more the 3.5 that I think is the appeal. So, I don't mind that play. I got an over-under for the next couple of ones here as well. I'm going to go under the 38.5 in this Carolina-Jacksonville game. Again, you look at the way these two offenses try to approach their play. Jacksonville does like to throw. Can't really throw on Carolina. Carolina likes to run. Can't really run on Jacksonville, so it's going to force these teams to do some things they're not very good at. That's Carolina throw the ball and Jacksonville run the football. And if that ends up being the case, I think we're going to see a low-scoring affair here. Carolina surprised me with the amount of points they were able to score last week. I don't think that repeats.
Dude, I had the under in that game, and I felt great about it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think that happens. I don't think DJ Chark's going out there and catching 2 touchdowns in a 100-yard game anytime soon. So I think this one's going to be kind of a grind. Both these teams are going to try to do what they do until, like hitting your head against the wall, right? It's not going to work that well. And they'll have to pivot, and I don't think they'll find much success. Carolina having to throw and Jacksonville trying to run consistently. So give me the under 38.5 points in this game.
Okay, I could dig that. I got one more game bet here, and you know what? I'm gonna, as crazy as it sounds, I'm gonna side with the Denver Broncos and this whole switch at quarterback. Jarrett Stidham now taking over, running this offense here. Listen. Stidham came in for 2 games at the end of last season and actually looked pretty good. One of those games was actually against the 49ers too. So he looked fine in that. He knows this offense. He can run this offense. It probably won't have Cortland Sutton, but again, who has Stidham been throwing to at practice the entire time? It's been Brandon Johnson. It hasn't been Cortland Sutton. So I'm not all that concerned with that. Again, this is Sean Payton and Joe Lombardi against the Chargers. Yes, it's a new head coach, but this defense still sucks.
Yeah,
still bad. And I'll take the Denver Broncos because everybody's all concerned about them now with -3.5, laying points and switching QBs. I'll take it. I might buy it down to -3 just to I'll pay the extra juice. It probably goes to like 120, -120.
Yeah.
To get rid of that hook. I might do that though, just so you know.
Listen, I think obviously it's you never know, but we've seen Stidham be an NFL quarterback before. It's not a guy that hasn't never had any game experience, so I don't mind it. We know the Chargers aren't all that good either with Easton Stick. We know a lot of people like the Denver Broncos defense this week in DFS based on the DFS rostership that we have. So if that's the case, you got to think Denver's coming out here and covering. My final bet when it comes to these game bets, I'm going to go and take the over 42.5 in Saints Tampa Bay. You and I talked a lot about liking this matchup as well. Both defenses have struggled to stop the pass. Both running backs are very involved in their passing game as well. So there's just a lot of weapons that can be had. We've seen these offenses score some points lately as well. So getting this matchup, I know it's a divisional game and sometimes those play lower, but I like the over 42.5 in this one.
Okay, I'm fine with that. I like that. I think that it does have that shootout kind of feel to it. Baker Mayfield, and even if it's one-sided for 3/4 of the game, we know that that's Derek Carr's MO, right? Give me 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter for Derek Carr, and set your watches by it. So I like that. All right, over 42.5 for the Saints Bucks. I can dig that. Now, listen, I don't have any other game bets here. Like I said, not going to force it. It's the last thing you want to do. We are positive. We are in the black for the season. The last thing you want to do is get a little crazy with stuff. So let's talk about some prop bets here then, John. Let's go to the prop world. Who do you like?
Yeah, I'm going to start off one. I know I didn't really like the game total in this Carolina Jacksonville game here, but my first prop I'm going to take is Adam Thielen over 4.5 receptions because you can throw against Jacksonville. That's the way that Carolina is going to have to attack this defense, especially if Chuba Hubbard doesn't play this week. I mean, are they really going to lean on Miles Sanders the way they lean on Chuba Hubbard for 20+ carries? Can Miles Sanders handle 20+ carries the way he's been injured this season? We know that Adam Thielen has been a target monster week in, week out for this Panthers offense, regardless of their success here. So you're getting Adam Thielen at -110 on the 4.5 receptions. I definitely like that. And if you can find his target props, I wasn't able to see a target line, but if they set that at 6.5, which is something they've generally listed him at, I'd probably take the over 6.5 targets as well for Thielen this week.
Ooh, yeah. I know you like some Carolina in there. It just always make me a little nervous. I find it weird that his receptions prop is down at 4.5.
Yeah. It's always low. His targets, because like you feel and the public feels, the passing attack for Carolina is abysmal.
Yeah.
But this is the only guy they throw to. So And what's his face there? The quarterback, Young, still throws 30 plus times a game. It's not like he's throwing, Marcus Mariota numbers out here where he's throwing 15, 16 times. He's still throwing a ton. So, Thielen's getting the receptions, getting the targets, just about a sheer volume that they have to throw these games. So,
yeah. All right.
What's your next prop?
Well, next prop. How about my first prop?
What's your first prop?
I'm gonna tag team it here. Okay. Utah, give me 2. That's from a movie called Point Break, John.
I've seen it. Yeah.
With Keanu Reeves and Gary Busey, not the recent one.
Yeah, I like the Fast and Furious version of it instead. Because it's the same movie, just with cars instead of surfboards.
Utah, give me 2. Yeah. Javonte Williams, again, looking at props that seem really weirdly low and with plus money on it, I'm confused by this, and yet I'm gonna lean into it here. I know the offense that Joe Lombardi likes to run, and I feel that with Jared Stidham, you're going to be looking at some more check downs that, like, Russell Wilson doesn't like to check it down. Russ likes to cook, right? He likes to look downfield. He likes to hit those sideline routes. Jared Stidham's going to do what's there for him. And I think he's going to end up with a few extra check downs, in this realm. And listen, Javonte Williams, he had 3 catches for 25 yards the last time they faced the Chargers. He also had 11 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. So give me Javonte Williams over 13.5 receiving yards and Javonte Williams over 2.5 receptions. The receiving yards is minus 115. The receptions over 2.5 receptions is plus 115. So if he catches 3, which he's done on average for the last, 6 games, 7 games, I'll take it.
Yeah. So your point of Russell Wilson is he also likes to extend plays, right? We talk a lot about he escapes the pocket, he moves around, he tries to buy time. Stidham's not going to have that mobility to his factor. He's going to be looking, like you said, for the quick check down when the pressure comes to him. He's not going to be running around in the pocket there. So I do like that one. I got a couple of plays in that Tampa Bay game for me as well. We're going to go Rachaad White over 3.5 receptions at plus 105. Again, we're getting plus odds on a guy that catches a lot of balls. He's got, I think he's got 54 catches now on the season, something in that range here. So, going up against New Orleans, they're going to be throwing a lot. They like to throw the Rachaad White out of the backfield nearly as much as the Saints like throwing to Alvin Kamara. So 3.5 on the receptions for Rachaad White, plus 105. And then I'm going to go Chris Godwin over 5.5 receptions at plus 125. Double-digit targets in 3 straight weeks. He's got the Alontae Taylor matchup that we've been targeting all season long here against the Saints. This feels like a good week for Chris Godwin. We talked about it in DFS. And I might have another Chris Godwin pick for you guys a little bit later on in the show as well. So give me Godwin plus 125 and over 5.5 receptions. Give me Rachaad White plus 105 over 3.5 receptions.
That's a pro tease there, by the way. That's what we call a pro tease in this industry. But yeah, all right. So you're liking the reception work. What's that?
So I've been around a little bit. I picked up some things here.
So you like the reception work here for Tampa. Okay. I could definitely, again, it kind of fits that narrative of the game that I think we're going to get anyway. So I can buy into that. And, listen, I already have Chris Godwin in DFS. I know this is a betting show, but nevertheless. All right. So I'm going to stay in that game. And I'm just going to go with Chris Olave over 65.5 receiving yards at minus 115. I mean, he's the number 1 target. We've seen Tampa Bay secondary give up significant yardage. They're actually giving up an average of, I believe it's like 83.5 receiving yards per game to the opposing wide receiver 1. So, I'll take my, I'll take that 20-yard window that they're giving me here and say that Olave goes over 65.5 in that game, which again could be a shootout.
Yeah, a little same game parlay we're building for people there, if they want to go ahead and take advantage of this Tampa Bay Saints game here. One player that you and I are apparently tag teaming props on here, I went with Darren Waller over 3.5 receptions at minus 115. The Rams are one of the worst teams in football against opposing tight ends. You are going Darren Waller over 37.5 receiving.
You tag me in. You got to tag me in for that shit, man.
Hot tag.
No, over here, dude. Come on. No, there you
There
go.
we go.
Whatever.
We
Keep
got it.
going.
We got it. I'm looking at you doing this, like, because you're on that
I'm
side of my
like right there
screen.
for it. Oh, am I on the other side for you here?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I have to go opposite side to hit you.
So I gotta go this way.
Yeah, if we do that, then we're
It
touching.
doesn't look. This just doesn't feel right.
It doesn't. I agree
This
with you.
doesn't feel right.
So we're both in on Waller. What are you
Both in on
Waller?
Yeah, over 3.5 receptions for you, over 37.5 receiving yards for me. We know that the Rams don't handle the tight end well. We know that, and there's a rapport between Taylor and Waller, and it's a much better situation here. I know that we saw some miscues with Tommy DeVito and Darren Waller, and I think that was probably part and parcel of why they kind of removed DeVito from it. I mean, they got the 3-game magic out of him, and then they fell apart, and we knew they were going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't necessarily think that Tyrod Taylor is the answer here for the Giants. They should be wanting to lose games and get a better draft pick, but whatever. They think Tyrod Taylor's going to be in there, but that's all that's going to do is help you and me for Darren Waller. So I like your over 3.5 receptions, and I love my over 37.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, for sure. My next pick here, I'm going to go with Najee Harris over 13.5 rushing attempts. Minus 110 there. Obviously, Harris has been limited in practice, so we got to make sure he's actually going to be active in this game here. But Najee Harris has gone over this total in 5 of the last 8 games. The 3 games where he failed to go over this total, he had 12 carries. So he was right there. A couple more first downs, maybe they get now with Mason Rudolph. Those drives get extended, and they run the ball a bit more. They're ahead in this game, and Najee Harris is the lead running back on this team. It is not Jalen Warren. It is Najee Harris getting those. So I'm gonna go Najee Harris over the 13.5 rushing attempts for me here against Seattle.
I dig it, man. I definitely dig it. I wish that he was running this good the entire time, but whatever. I don't want to lament over a lost season here. I'll just go to Kyron Williams.
Could have been improved in Pittsburgh this year. That's for sure.
What's that?
The quarterback play needed to be improved in Pittsburgh this year. The
quarterback play did need to be improved, no doubt. All right, my next pick here, Kyron Williams, over 115.5 rushing and receiving yards. Now I know he hasn't gotten any strong receiving work over these last 3 games. I know that. But what I also know is that he's cleared 100 rushing yards in 4 out of his last 5 out of his last 6. And he did have, before this 3-game run where he just hasn't been getting any passing work, which really doesn't make a lot of sense, but nevertheless, I do feel like it maybe ticks up a little bit. Not a lot. I mean, his rushing yards prop, I could probably take that instead. Yeah. I think it was like 96.5. But, to err on the side of caution here, I'll just take the 115.5 rushing and receiving, mix it all together, grind it all up, and do it against the Giants for minus 115 on BetMGM.
Yeah, for the most part this year, he has been involved in a passing offense. I mean, all it takes is one screen for like 30 yards, and you basically just cook the prop, right? I mean, by that point, you only need 70 rushing, 80 rushing, and that's more than doable in his wheelhouse there. So I like that one a lot. Again, just for the pure fact that he's going over 100 yards rushing alone. So it should be a good spot. They should be playing from ahead, have to run the ball with him. All of that sounds pretty good. My last prop here is Nico Collins over 59.5 receiving yards at minus 115. We got CJ Stroud back. We got a great matchup here against the Tennessee Titans. So going Nico Collins over the 59.5 receiving feels pretty good this week here, Howard.
Welcome back, CJ Stroud. How we've missed him so much over these last 3 weeks. He went from we were locking him into lineups everywhere. We were betting on him for, pass attempts and yardage. Mm-hmm. And so we've definitely missed him. So welcome back, Nico Collins, then, and welcome back, CJ Stroud. I love it. All right. There's a big old handful of props here. A couple of game bets. Let's just, listen. nobody says these shows have to go to a certain length. So let's just let's wrap things up with how about some cute, funny little touchdown calls. Touchdown. All right. Now, the last time you and I did this show together, you kind of bullied me into parlaying like 7 different guys so that I could get the plus money that you feel comfortable using. Don't shake your head.
I didn't bully you. I
You bullied me.
suggested.
You bullied me.
All right.
Any viewers out there, please comment at any point whatsoever. He's at J Impemba 77. He was a bully.
All I said is I don't get out of bed for anything less than 5-1, and you were like, well, we have to throw all these together. So,
and yet now, what's your touchdown call, John?
My touchdown call is an anytime touchdown for Chris Godwin at plus 265. However, 265. Howard, if you wanted to do the first touchdown for Chris Godwin, plus 1,300. So
he takes a while to get warmed up.
He's not usually a touchdown guy, but this is certainly a matchup to get a touchdown for him, given the matchup against Taylor here. Mike Evans at plus 550, also a very nice first touchdown play for Tampa Bay if you're going on there. Olave, I know you like him in this game, plus 750. So you can, again, you want to same game parlay this? That's some pretty nice touchdown props in this matchup. But I'm going Godwin anytime for my official touchdown call at plus 265.
Godwin anytime official touchdown call. All right. I'm going to dive in deeper, uglier. I actually just wrote about this guy in my article for the New York Post. If you guys want to check that out, it comes out on Saturday. Within a TJ Hawkinson, what have we seen? Well, we're going to see a little Josh Oliver. Now, we've seen Oliver even before TJ Hawkinson got hurt, right? He's got like 5-6 targets over his last 3 games. He's playing about a 40% snap share. All those numbers are going to go up. Johnny Munt is blocking tight end. Oliver's get more work in the passing game there. So considering the Green Bay Packers ranked 28th in DVOA against the tight end position, I'm going to say that Josh Oliver, fantasy savior for all those Hawkinson owners out there, he gets into the end zone this week. It's plus 450. I got it at Caesars. BetMGM didn't even have it listed for me when I went looking. So I had to go to Caesars for this one here, but there you go. Josh Oliver, anytime touchdown.
Listen, I remember when Josh Oliver got drafted and people were excited about it, what his athletic profile was as a pass-catching tight end. He was big, he was fast, he was a mismatch, and he just never really became anything in Jacksonville here, but could have some decent opportunities in this spot. So I like that call. I like that call here, Howard. So that's our touchdowns. Howard's got plus 450. Anytime Josh Oliver. I got Chris Godwin anytime touchdown at plus 265. Any final thoughts?
Mix all of that up with all of our fun props and all of our game bets. Again, listen, just if you're in the black here for the season, well, even if you're in the red for this season, this is not a heavy slate to bet. There's not a lot of, I don't love it. I don't personally love it. And the last time, again, like I said, the last time I said I didn't love a slate and I wasn't betting it heavy, I didn't. And it was a bad week. It was like one of those like weird oddball weeks that, that people just got, rooked. The books made a fortune. It was that easy for them. So, but that's going to do it for us here today. Again, we thank you guys so much for being with us here. The Bettor Sports Betting Show will be back on New Year's Day. Dan Servadidio will be back. It's either going to be with Jon Impemba himself or James Grande. We don't know who, because there's a big old New Year's Day night slate that you're going to want to bet. And there's also some college football as well. And we know that Howard doesn't know about either. So wait for that to come on Monday. In the meantime, for Jon Impemba, I'm Howard Bender. This has been the Bettor Sports Betting Show, and we'll catch you next time.